Hi, this is Petra and Missy coming from the big picture. So today is the day after Christmas, and I know the holidays bring up a lot of different emotions, which is energy, vibrations. And, you know, I think because of what's going on, is particularly this time in life with COVID and pushing us out of our comfort zone of our patterns, which make us feel secure because there's a lot of the unknown now because like everybody said they can't wait until this is over with so we can get back to normal. And I don't really know that it will ever go back to what it was, nor do I know that it should. So it's about creating a new normal for yourself in any situation. And the way that you do that is, again, having your heart and mind be a team and coming within yourself into what I call the internal home. You really can't create any kind of, uh, I guess, existence for yourself if you don't have you. And we have all of these um, false selves, I'll say, when we start taking on this reality, like I've spoken about before, the thoughts and the judgments and even the compliments people give us, we start taking on who we are from other people. And it's really about shedding that. Life experience is about reflecting and looking back through your life and not getting stuck and feeling guilty or feeling that you've screwed up or whatever. We're just here to experience. We're here to experience for God. And my understanding is to find self unconditional love for yourself rather than being hard on yourself and condemning yourself. It's finding compassion for yourself in the situations that you've been in. And sometimes the hardest things that we're in during life is, these situations is because we're very brave. We're willing to feel. And they're very uncomfortable, a lot of them. Missy and I were talking about how when you're hysterical, it's historical this season. And I've had a few of those moments. Um, things are passed down through generations. And again, when you work on releasing, you're releasing for yourself not only, but for the prior generations and future generations because you're breaking cycles. So when you're hysterical and it's historical, you're not just working on something that you have struggled with and created in this lifetime. You're working on breaking those patterns that have gone back many, 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 many years. And you're just more conscious. So this is, if you have, excuse me, I tend to do that a lot, and that's actually energy releasing. So I apologize ahead of time if you hear me clearing my throat. That's just something that I do. So when you have more consciousness, and especially if you have a community of light people, this is where you're able to do the work because we're a mirror for each other. So when I am really hysterical about something, I can reach out to Missy or reach out to another person that I'm working with in the classes to help me to be able to see the big picture. Um, so if you found yourself reminiscing and feeling sad during the holiday season, which a lot of us struggle with, and I think about what my life would have been if my parents were still here, and it makes me sad. But I also know I wouldn't be me if I had my parents either, the me that I am today. I look on Facebook and I see pictures of people I know with their parents, and I'm very happy for them, don't get me wrong. But there's a longing inside of me. I'll never stop thinking about my mom and my dad and all my loved ones and past, holidays. But I also reflect on how busy I was and really how I was not, a lot of it, I really was not very grounded. And if I look now, I feel like I'm more myself now than I was then. I feel like I was playing a role.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to make a lot of people happy and providing something for people. And today, really, I'm more my true centered self. I feel like I'm more the me that I would have been had I never lost my mother.
So you could still have that sadness, but really feel grateful that life has slowed down a little bit, and would you wouldn't take anything back. You would want them to be here, but kind of that slowing down a little bit, I feel, is important to reflect, important time to reflect. So you can still have that sadness, but you can also reflect on the great memories that you had.
That's true. I have one person in particular in a class that I've been doing for about a year now, and she's a sweetheart. I just love her dearly. Um, and she's had a very hard life and loss of her husband, and she actually told me that the podcast helped her one day because she was listening to me sharing that I had anxiety and depression. And, when I work with people that are going through this, I again tell them, feel that loss, feel that sadness. Let me sit here with you. You're not alone. I feel what you're feeling. Let's feel it because let's honor it. When you lose somebody in your life and you really love them, that's never going to go away. It does change. It does morph a little bit, but it's when that comes up, let's just sit and feel that loss because let's honor it. Let's honor the person. Let's honor that their soul. Let's honor your hopes of what you thought your life was going to look like growing old with this person, and they're not there, and that deserves your time. That deserves you holding a space for it. But it's unbearable and very lonely when you try to do it by yourself. So again, this is where it's very helpful when you have a person in your life that will say, a lot of people as a knee jerk reaction is to say, oh, it's going to be okay. Don't feel like that. You have a lot of other people that love you. That just pushes that all away from you and makes it harder, makes it stronger. Really, a person saying, I'm going to sit here and listen because I love you. Go ahead and feel. Don't feel bad to cry, yell, get it out. Because I love you, I'm going to hold that space for you. I'm going to listen. And listening is the biggest gift you can give anybody.
And I was going to say that is holding the space for them, and it's when when you learn to listen for somebody, you can really see them change. Maybe just right in that moment, because I think they come in more, and it's like, wow, somebody, not that they're, you know, but they're able to feel. That's what it is. They're able to feel. And someone may be sobbing, someone may be, angry, or anything with that grief, but they're able to feel whatever they're feeling, they're able to feel. And I've had experiences where I let people do that, and then it's almost like this feeling or this look of relief after they're done.
When people release, what happens is there's enlightenment. Because you're holding that space, they do go inside and they are willing to feel that vibration and they follow it through, just like being fluid, like water. And they follow it through and it's released. And then there's more of them in, which is enlightenment. They feel themselves. And, that's really part of grief is because when we lose somebody who we love so dearly, like when I lost my mom, I said a part of me went with her and a part of her stayed with me. And that is true. And to this day, I feel that. But we also long for the old us because that's comfortable. And I knew when my mother died that I was never going to be Petra anymore. I, you know, I expressed that I felt like there was nobody stronger than me, nobody that loved the way that I loved, like my mother did. And, I mourned that girl too. So it's about recreating ourselves, but we're not the relationship that we had with somebody else. We are just that image of God, that pure love and light. And again, though, it's in your mind this story that you tell yourself of who you are. When you're doing something for someone, let's say when I was having all these parties and cooking and cleaning and making everything nice. And I did it with love.
Mm-hmm.
I did it because I wanted to. You're telling yourself that, I'm doing this because I want to do it. I want to make it a nice, happy holiday. And, I want to show everybody that I love them because I've said millions of times, hear people say, love you too, love you. And it just becomes this, you know, empty phrase. When you really love somebody, you're taking an action, and it's an action. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
So I was showing them that I was loving them, but at the time I was not loving Petra. It wasn't coming through me. It was something that I was really working hard at doing. And Petra was in that chair where I put her when my mother died. And that was okay because I didn't want to lose her. I was afraid of losing her. But I didn't know how to have her without my mother. And even as I'm saying this, I could cry.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I went back and got her layers of the onion. I did it through counseling. I did it through OA, Overeaters Anonymous. I did it through hospice grievance group, which really saved my life. And I went back to her and I said to her, Petra, let's do you. I'm going to walk with you and let you have life experiences and to learn to grow from them and to ask yourself questions. What is it that I want? What is it? Who am I? And I've always asked myself, who am I? Why am I here?
But that's the best thing you could have done for yourself. That's the best gift that you gave to yourself. You know, it's when we like the actions with the love, when we say, when we say I love you, it does become redundant, and the actions do show love. But it's like love, you don't have to try with love. You shouldn't have to try to do anything. You know, it should just come. So part of that, I feel like, even though you lost yourself in it, I feel like it was you were coming from love, but it was how can I show it? How can I? And that put a lot on you, you know. But now, if you were to show love, it would be very different. The way you show love now is so different. And when you're in your presence, like when I'm in your presence, I know you love me because your actions, and you're very um, giving and very, but you're not trying to do it. It happens.
Thank you. When I'm channeling and I see people, I mean, because you've worked with me and you've said it's changed your life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know words come through me, and they're not my words. They just comes through me. I ask to be a channel of God's love and light, so the person can release whatever's holding them back from their true selves and peace and joy and good health. And so I just open up and allow the words to come. But I feel the love that comes through me. And I really believe that's what people feel.
They do.
And I feel this safety, this wholeness that's created that comes through. And I know it's God,
Mm-hmm.
what I call God, whatever your belief system is. And that's where the healing and the magic really is in feeling that love. Because we come from that collective energy. We come from that love. And we are all pure unconditional love and light. And that's where the homesick feeling comes in because
Mm-hmm.
I never disconnected from that. So I always knew what that felt like. But what it was my mother became my God because my mother allowed that to come through her. So when she died, I didn't ever see that through other people. I knew people loved me, but not that.
Not that connection.
No, I mean, she channeled God's love, just
Mm-hmm.
came through her. And people that knew her, oh, my
They'd
mother,
say the same thing.
oh gosh, yeah,
Yeah.
and they'll say, your mother was such a good person. Your mother was so sweet. She always made me feel good to be around.
Mm-hmm.
And she always said, look for the gift, look for the good in others.
Mm-hmm.
Look for the good in them, and they'll give you more of that.
And that is very godlike.
Yeah. And she used to say, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at
Mm-hmm.
all. And, she really lived her life that way. And again, she started off in life with a mother that didn't want her and a father who was an alcoholic, and her grandmother raised her.
And that's what I was going to say. For the life that she had, that was really, she took it upon herself to be that way.
Yes, she did. She said, I'm going to make a difference. I'm
Yeah.
going to change. I'm going to break this cycle.
Yes.
So, I talk about being the monkey in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And, I feel like I have been that monkey in the middle in a lot of ways because I listened to all these messages from my mother and saw the God in her. And then I see this reality of humanness. And it's like being that monkey in the middle, trying to not disconnect from your true authentic self, which is God, and trying to be in this reality of humanness. And that's been very hard for me. Been very hard for me. You and I have said many times
Yes.
how you just said before, we're not fake.
No.
What you see is what you get. And it's difficult for people to be around us sometimes because they feel that. And
But
they
that's
don't
what's
know if,
tough about this reality.
yes, and they don't know if they feel that draw to go back to their true selves. And it can be scary because it's that unknown. And it's a sense of losing control. And the control is what makes them feel safe. And that's what's going on right now because of all this COVID stuff, which to me is a blessing. It's been going back and saying, here, I'm going to give you a big gift. Yeah. Look inside yourself, start exploring, and so you and I have always, I'm not trying to say we're better than anybody else.
No.
We're not. And there's so many other people too that
are
like this.
Yes.
But they just don't know where to go with it. Excuse me. So, we are trying to create more opportunities for people. That's why we're doing this podcast. That's why we're putting ourselves out there. You've had people come up to you that have heard the podcast now, like you just said to me, that said, I listened to it. This is so helpful. Thank you. My website is going to go up so that people can say, I want to try a class. I want to give people the opportunity to find other people, like I said, that'll hold that space for them so that they really can come back to themselves because so many people are struggling. They don't feel whole. They're homesick for themselves.
And that's why we started this in the first place. We want to reach people. We want to help people. And like you said, we do not think that we are any better than anybody else. It's just having the like-minded people to be around. And like in the classes, I have seen people put so much trust in you now that I've been in these classes. And I've brought people to you, some of my good friends. And, it's just to see them, the amount of trust that they have and the amount of love that comes through from them to you and you to them, and the love in the room. And not only in person, virtually, everything. Like you just see people change, and it's not, that's the magic of God, coming through you, coming through me, but it's not like we have all the answers. We are just a channel for God. And the more people that we can help, we want to.
And I like to say, I'm not contradicting you, but I like to say instead of change, I'll say grow. Because I don't think people need to change. They don't need to change anything.
That's right.
You can choose to start looking at things differently. You can choose to feel, but it's transforming and allowing a space to grow because it's an actual space. We provide a space for people to grow, to feel and grow. And, watching that and watching a person transform is unbelievable. And instead of saying help people, I like to just say, to guide people. And I think that's what we do. And again, I don't mean to contradict you.
No, I understand.
But words have power,
Yes,
and I point that out to people.
You're right.
That if you say I need to or I have to,
because
that sounds like work.
And also meaning, that they change. It's like something was wrong with them.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with them.
Right. So it's words have power. So, when I say, instead of saying I need to, how about I choose to? And if I say to a person, how does that sound differently? And they say, oh, yeah, choose to is more empowering. And when you do that, you say, and more empowering, you actually boost your energy up. And that feels more doable because you've raised your vibration by just feeling the difference in the quality of the energy quality of that word.
Yes.
So need to and choose to, not that one's better than the other, just like with people.
Right.
It's just they have a different vibrational tone. Just like that light bulb analogy I go back to. Different people in your life. Some people that are really hard and challenging for us are our greatest teachers. Where would we be today without them? So it's it's holiday time. I mean, it's proven that the suicide rate goes up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's really difficult. I mean, people have lost people in the past, and they reflect on that, and I'm sure that they always feel like, what did I not do? What could have I done differently? How could have I told that person to really realize their worth in life, to know that they were important? And, just saying that, when I talk about it, I can feel the flood of energy that comes through because I draw that energy to me, and I can feel that. And it stings. It's a very
Mm-hmm.
stinging energy, and it's a very desperate energy. And where the hell do you go with that?
And I feel like somebody's pushing on my chest. It's like somebody's sitting on my chest right now with that. So it's very delicate, very,
Yeah, it is.
yeah,
Delicate's a good word.
yeah.
So, people face that. So, where do they go? What do they do with that? That's something that you're always going to have with you because you had that relationship with this person. People don't leave us, but in doing this work, they do physically in this manifestation, but they're always with us, their soul.
Mm-hmm.
So, in doing this work, again, it's about honoring that relationship and feeling it. And feeling that no matter what we did, no matter what we said, we couldn't change it. So perhaps that person's purpose in this lifetime is to fulfill exactly what they did because we have choice. God shows me we have choice. But it just like with losing my mother, I wanted to carry on her legacy. I wanted to allow the best parts of her to shine through me. So that person in your life had those best parts of them.
Mm-hmm.
So when you allow yourself to grieve, because the grief is what's stopping you and blocking you from really being able to feel them. And again, when we love somebody, we want to hold on to them so tightly because we don't want to lose them. But then what we're doing is we're blocking the grief. And the grief is what needs to, not needs, but it does need to be. It needs to be felt in order for you to continue your life because you don't have you're stuck. But again, you're not meant to do it alone. That's why hospice worked for me. Other people were feeling what I was feeling, they were in it at the same time. And, some people, I was the first person to leave the group and move on. And that in itself was hard for me because I felt like I was leaving these people behind.
Right.
And I remember the facilitator saying to me, I ran in the bathroom. I ran in the bathroom and I cried and cried and cried, and I didn't want to come out of the bathroom.
Yeah.
She
I
was
bet.
knocking on the door and she said, Petra, please open the door. Because I felt like I was abandoning these
Yeah.
people. And she said to me, Petra, you're not abandoning them, you're giving them hope.
Yes, because you were ready. You were ready.
And that's what she said to me.
Yeah.
You're giving them hope. So in that moment, when I fled out of the room, um, I said to myself, I can't do this anymore. I want to go on with my life. And I have a lot to be thankful for. I have my husband, I have my children, I have a future. So that doesn't mean that I haven't gone back and revisited that. I do. That's the layers of the onion. The sadness comes back. It's never going to go away.
No.
I loved my mother and the people in my life, my aunts, my uncles, my grandparents, so much. Of course, I'm going to go back and revisit that grief. But because I've worked through the grief, I feel them. I not I will always want that tangible body. I will always want to be able to touch them. That's never going to go away. But they can move closer to me because I'm whole. I have me. So, they give me messages. You've received the messages.
Yes.
Your grandfather's come through me.
Yes.
People have come through me, things that I would never know.
Right.
I just worked with somebody the other night, and his mom came through. I said things, and he actually said, "You blew my mind." So I don't know these things.
No.
It comes
come
through
through,
me.
right?
The
You
person
channel
comes,
it.
yeah, the person comes through me and gives us message because they love us so much.
Yes. And they want us to know that they're okay. We worry so much here because we can't tangibly see them or touch them, but they want us to know that they are with us all the time, and they are. But I feel like you said before, with the honoring, I feel like when we honor them, they can come forward towards us more. And, they want us to know it's okay. They're with us and that they're okay. They want us to know that. And I've experienced that also. And I'll tell you, the last 2 days, I saw numbers on the clock that I'm given that I know this person is with me. And I saw it each time that my kids and I were eating dinner. And I'm like, okay,
Isn't that beautiful?
I love it. I
It
love
makes
it.
you.
And I don't, I'm going to tell you, I rarely look at the clock. Time is just, especially the last 2 days, what would I really need to look at the clock for? And it just points me at that clock at that time. I know he does that for a reason.
Mhm.
And it's, I rejoice.
That's a
It's,
beautiful word. I rejoice.
it's beautiful. When I say to my kids, so and so's here, and you know,
Thumbs up.
we put our uh, glasses up and toast. But that's what I mean. Like, I held on for dear life for years. This has been years, and I've held on for dear life, and he still showed me signs. He still tried, and I saw those signs. But now it's even more.
So when I look at you, because we're together, and when you say that, I can see because I've worked with you and seen you go through the peel the layer, peel the
Mm-hmm.
layer, peel the layer. But I can still see that little twinge of pain
Yeah.
when you talk about him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I also see at the same time as you're feeling that twinge of missing, longing pain, you had a smile on your face
Mm-hmm.
because you know he loves you so much that he's giving you these signs to say, I love you. You were one of my people. You were one of my mirrors. And that's the gift. And I can see it right
It
now
is
if
a
you want to
gift.
cry.
Yes.
But the thing is, at that moment, feel how much you're loved. I just said
Yes.
loving somebody is an action. He's taking actions to say, Missy, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
I love your family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching out for you. And it's just feel it.
It's
Because
wonderful.
when a person really allows themselves to feel it, and in that feeling it, it's a little vulnerable, right?
It is.
But to really feel it and know you are special
Mm-hmm.
just the way you are. And he really saw Missy.
Mm-hmm.
He saw you.
Mm-hmm.
He saw you.
And
That person's never going to leave your life.
that's a gift.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But had you gone before him, it would be the same thing because you're the
Mm-hmm.
mirror for each other.
Mm-hmm.
So it's.
And at that time, we didn't realize that. Didn't really even realize that in the moment, because I was not really honestly doing this at that time. I mean, we cared very much for each other in that at that time, and we knew we just related to each other. But now it's like, wow, this is a gift that we had and that we still have.
Did you ever notice, like in relationships, some people just more or less read your mind?
Yes, and that was the case.
So there's the difference in, like, it's hard for me to ask for things
Mm-hmm.
because there's a little voice outside of me that says, why should you have to ask? They should just know.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had that with my mother.
Right.
I have that ability with other people. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like this double-edged sword that says to me, oh, you shouldn't have to ask. They should just know. And it's a little bit of a snippy voice.
Yeah.
And I don't like the way that voice feels.
Yeah.
So it has good intention. However, it's kind of a lower vibration. So I just say thank you to that energy and I just push it out a little ways. And I say, I'm important enough to be able to ask for what I need from this person. They don't have to honor it, they can leave my life. But in setting boundaries, you're giving a person a gift on how to treat you. So you're taking out a lot of anxiety for them of, oh God, will she like this? Will she not? Should I or shouldn't I? Because some people are not in tune with that. But again, they're our greatest teachers.
Mm-hmm.
So, setting boundaries is a gift because you're saying, this is who I am. And you are having your voice and you're not making it hard. You're not making it all this second guessing and like
No.
why do we do that? Why do we do that?
Hmm.
Because oh, I shouldn't have to, I shouldn't ask, and that it's like pay attention to that outside disturbance, and that's the story. Like I say, we're in the story a lot in our lives, and in this work we're stepping out of the story and coming back into the internal home, using our heart and mind a team, saying yes, shaking our head up and down, heart and mind a team, heart and mind a team, because the trick is to be in this reality, in our internal home, inside and outside, and being in balance and in harmony with it.
And if you're when you are in your internal home, you're always coming from love.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're setting those boundaries and using your voice, and it may be a little bit tough, but as long as I always say, as long as you come from love and no judgment, just come from love and set those boundaries and have that respect for yourself, you're fine because you're in your internal home and you're fine. And you're setting the boundaries, and more than likely the person is happy you did that.
Oh yeah, if they're meant to be,
Yes.
if they want to be in your life, yeah.
Yes. Because it takes, like you said, it takes everything, it takes the craziness off of everything. And it's like it takes, the questioning, does she want this, does she want, am I supposed to do that? You set the boundaries, and they can set their boundaries too.
Mm-hmm.
you know
You know, when you talking about energy, I've said to people, I statements. When you go to somebody and say, I need you to do blah blah blah,
hmm
you're right away that person's going to have energy that's going to move them back, because that energy is telling them, whoa, whoa, that's not a
hmm
good feeling to think you need something from me, and that really subconsciously tells a person I'm not doing good enough and you want me to change. Nobody
hmm
really likes the way that feels.
no.
However, when you say, I feel disrespected, I am not comfortable with this, a person will move towards you, because you're not, you know, putting it on them. A relationship is about two people.
hmm
So in setting those boundaries, you're giving a person a choice to say, oh, do I want to do that? Maybe I want to leave the relationship. And again, it's
hmm
their choice. But you get there by being in your internal home, because as you said, when you're in your internal home, you're not judging, you're observing,
hmm
right? You're not taking it personal. When you're out and you're in the story, you've got these other energies that are telling you how your life should be, what you should be doing.
hmm
Like I
and what the other
was when
person
I
should
was
be doing and not doing.
right. So that like I was in the story when my mother died and I was doing all these
hmm
holidays and stuff, right? People pleasing and
hmm
all that. I didn't do it because I was a bad person. I did it because that's where I was in
Right.
my growth. But the people that really get me and love me are, they feel more love now than they did
hmm
with me doing all that people pleasing.
hmm
They want to be in my space because, like you said, it feels comfortable. They can be themselves. They can, you know, come in.
hmm and sometimes we, with this, sometimes the tough part is those people do have a choice. So sometimes those people, choose to leave your life, you know, um, and that's their choice.
Mhm.
But and sometimes if we're out, we think, what could we have done for them not to leave our space? What could you and I know now that that is a choice for them, and I feel, and I know you do too, that it's like, okay, we know that people may leave our life, but it's also their choice, but it's also, you know, growing. We're growing. And that doesn't make us any better than anybody else. We don't feel that. But, you know, all we can do with our life is come from love for other people. And if those people choose not to want to feel or want to look at their life that way, you and I have never said, can't believe they left my life. I can't believe, in the moment, years back, we probably would have.
Mhm.
But we realize that it's everybody has a choice.
Energy has an entrance and an exit. So in feeling, you're giving yourself an opportunity to be a healer and allow that energy to release, to be transformed. So again, in any, even in a relationship, when you're somebody that you really felt like, oh my gosh, I thought this person was going to be in my life forever, you're allowing it to release by accepting it.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to accept it, you must feel. If you're not willing to feel, you're going to get in your head and you're going to start judging it, and then you're going to get stuck. And that energy is still in there, and it came in, but now it doesn't have an exit. Okay, so you're going to feel this agitation, like sandpaper on your soul, like so literally on your soul,
Mm-hmm.
rubbing. Depression, anxiety, addiction. That's where it is, because you don't want to feel. Because in your head, this reality says, "Oh no, what happened? What went wrong? Can't it be fixed? Can't you change yourself? Can't that person change?" And in this work, it's saying, oh, let me feel it. I'm not going to judge it. It is what it is. And allow it to just go and have its exit, because that's what it's about. Enter, exit. If we don't want to feel it, then we get stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people, you don't have to do this. I'm just
Right.
guiding you. I'm not attached to what you do, whether you do it or not. But know that if you don't want to feel it, this sandpaper effect that you're feeling, because they're
Mm-hmm.
feeling it,
Mm-hmm.
okay, is going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens in my own experience and working with people is another situation will come that's a little bit harder, because we really come down to experience. So your experience now is being tortured, because it's
Right.
like torture.
Right.
It really is torture. So if you don't like the energy vibration of feeling tortured, then allow that energy to exit. There's nothing to fix. You're not broken,
Mm-hmm.
and neither is that other person.
Mm-hmm. And the non-judgment really helps with it. It really helps.
Taking it personal, not taking
Yes.
it personal.
Yes. Because like you said, once you take it personal, you're in the story, and it really hooks you, and it's going to come in a different way, and it's going to keep coming around again. And um it really, you really truly want it to release.
You know what's really funny? Again, of course, I'm channeling. Sitting here and I'm thinking, and I've always said this, in a relationship, there's you, there's the other person, and then there's this joining of energy of the two of you in the relationship. So that's like a third person.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Okay. So when a relationship ends, you know, that third, that second you, because there's the person, you, and then the third person is a relationship. So that relationship energy, feels exactly like a loss, like when you lose someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, like when I look at our friendship, there really isn't a third person. Really.
No.
I just realized that.
Yeah.
Like I'm sitting here and I'm looking at you across the couch and I'm going, wait a minute. There's her, there's me. There's no third person. You know what it is? There's God.
Yes.
That's the third person.
Yes.
There's God.
And I
And
was
that's
just gonna
always
say
there.
that.
And
Yes.
that's always there.
Yes.
That's always there. But
You're
you
right.
don't have that with everybody.
No, you don't.
Because there's dependency. Oh, I have to have the third person because otherwise I won't be happy. I won't be. But again, the love we want is our own.
Right.
The person we want to be able to trust is ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
love yourself. I love
I was just
myself.
gonna say that. So there really is no third person but God with us, and it's. I also feel it's a blended.
Mm-hmm.
It's very blended.
Because when we come together, it's our God parts of ourselves connecting. That's what channeling
Yes.
is.
Yeah. So it's a really awesome feeling to have that, and to be able to have someone to have that with, because more like what other relationships, like you said, it's you, it's them, and then it's you together. But this is different. It's blended with God.
And you know what I think? You know what I think, Missy, going back to like people are either comfortable in our space or they're not, is, and very often people said to you and me that we're very strong people, like you're very grounded or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, that's what they're sensing, is the fact that really and honestly, when you are grounded and you are in your heart and mind as a team, and that God is coming through, people are either drawn to it because it feels like a relief, and there's this
Do you
there's
feel like it's
this
a trust?
it's like an epiphany. They know somewhere, like, oh, this seems familiar and this seems easy in a way.
Yeah.
However, there is what, we don't like to say it's work because that sounds hard, but there is the willingness to look at things differently and be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like the work. So, we've done that our whole life, where we've just been very conscious and looking and observing and feeling, not only for ourselves, but everybody. So what we've learned is, okay, I'm feeling that. Oh, I'm feeling it. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
there it goes. It comes in. I'm going to let it release because it's not me. And shh, and they let
Mm-hmm.
it go out.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can see in relationships that some of them, like there's some relationships now in my life that are really look like they're going to be released, but that doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to be completely taken out of your life. You're making room for it to morph, to change, if the other person wants to be in your life.
Right. Yeah. And again, like we don't, we say it's tough to call it work, but that vulnerability, that willingness to feel, that's the work part of it. But and it's not, um, it's just a great feeling to have. It's a great place to be. I wouldn't change this for the world. I wouldn't change the way we do this for the world, because it's like such a good feeling to actually, our whole life that we were observing, where we're taking things on for people and fixing, trying to fix. And now it's like so different. It's just such a peaceful, it's a space.
Mm-hmm.
And
It
it's
is a
a
space.
peaceful space to be in.
Authentic.
Yes.
Too, I realized this holiday season is, God said to me, what message are you putting out to people?
Mm-hmm.
In other words, like, all right, like I don't like to put pressure on anybody. Like, if you don't want to be in my space, I don't want to, make you feel like you have to or you need to. And, holidays are nice, but to me, in some ways, it's just another day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that people are feeling a lot of pressure as it is. So it's like, in a way, I feel like I feel that pressure energy. So I'm like, well, why bother? Let's just do a spontaneous day, which I
Mm-hmm.
really love. That's
Mm-hmm.
more fun. That's the fun.
Right.
Um, but however, I kind of sat here last night and thought, you know, I don't know. Maybe next year I do want, this person to come and see them. But I have the ability to send out a different message, because if I say, there's no pressure, don't feel like you have to come, that's what I'm telling that person.
Right.
So then the energy will come in later, like, oh, poor me. Look at, they went over here or there. Wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I put that message out there. Now, was I being my true self when I put the message out there? Well, probably 90%.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's a human Petra too.
There is.
That's like a wah, wah,
Mm-hmm.
wah, lick at my
Mm-hmm.
wounds kind of a
Mm-hmm.
thing. But
In all of us.
yeah, but that's the story.
Right.
And we remind each other that that's the story.
Mm-hmm.
The bottom line is I love that person, and I want I want to love them.
Mm-hmm.
I want to love them because I just do. I love them. So there's that stuff too. Um, so realize that are putting out messages. Like when I was doing all of the people pleasing,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't leave room for people to do for me.
No.
They actually felt less than, because I'll tell you what, when I do things, like when I decorate, when I cook or
You
whatever.
go all out.
Yeah, but it's not really hard for me because
No,
I'm
it's
channeling
not.
it. It
You're
takes
right.
it takes preparation. You have to go get the
But you
food. You
enjoy
have to.
it. You
I did enjoy
enjoy
it,
it.
but when I look back now, I made a lot of people feel kind of inferior because
Mm-hmm.
they were like, "Oh my God, holy crap! Look at
Mm-hmm.
everything she does. I don't know if I could do that."
Mm-hmm.
So I created some of that competition energy, right? Or
Right. Right. I
you
see
know,
what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah, and that's been like a pattern in my life
Yes.
because I do have a lot of energy to give,
Yes.
and people see that. But the energy they don't realize, and I didn't either, is coming through me because I'm channeling it.
Exactly.
So, and when
And
I'm
it was
channeling,
not done for that reason
no,
at all. It's done through love.
yeah, and I liked the way it felt.
Right.
It was for me
Right.
too. It was like,
Right.
yay, this feels good. It's kind of like a
Yes.
high.
It is.
And it kind of looks like mania in a way because you just have this endless amount of energy.
Yeah.
But you're tapped into something.
But on the flip side of it, it was a lot on you.
Oh yeah, in your physical
It was
body.
a lot.
Yeah, in your physical body. Yeah.
So it's
Yeah. Yeah. So this again is about being conscious, being in this world but not of it, and asking yourself the questions of why am I here? Am I here? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Because that's a question I have. There's got to be more to life than this. And let me just tell you, there is. And like Missy said, it's a space. It's a space, and it's filled with you, and it's filled with a lot of mirrors of the other people that mirror you. And it is a beautiful thing. And Missy and I want to, again, just express how grateful we are to everyone that's taking the time out of their day to listen to this. And, to provide you with an opportunity to just sit down and listen to this, or if you feel as though, this resonates with you, sign up for a class. Just try one class and see if it brings you joy, because it's about being here and being joyful.
Yeah. And reach out. On the YouTube, on the podcast, there is room for comments. So, if people want to comment, or if people want to like reach out to us in that way, people can do that. We would love that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
And also to subscribe. You know what I
Yes.
mean? I mean, we really want to be able to continue to do this, and we will, because I'm going to tell you, when we sit here and we do this, we're filled up.
We are.
We're filled
We're
up.
on. Yeah. We're on cloud nine.
It is, because
It's wonderful.
we're just hanging out here with that third person, which is God.
Yep.
The God part of ourselves.
Yep. And
You know?
it's a great feeling.
Yeah. So we hope that you got through these holidays, and a new year is coming, and we have all those new year's resolutions and everything. I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. How about just be you?
You're okay just the way you are.
That's right. We love you, and thank you so much for spending time with us.